On Triple M, Holly with you. This is Rural Focus. And this morning we're joined by Fiona Mann. She's an AgriFutures Rural Women's Award WA finalist, which is very exciting. And Fiona is turning locally grown canola from her family farm near Eridu into premium cold-pressed oil under something called Block 275. Fiona, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Holly.
So for those of us who haven't heard of Block 275, can you tell me a little bit about the product and also what inspired you to turn canola into a value-added product?
Yeah, I sure can. So I farm with my husband, Liam, and our three young sons, Callum, James and George. So we're in the Midwest. So as you just said, Eridu, which is just inland from Geraldton, or 5 hours north from Perth if you're a southern kind of based person. But it's a very small farm and it's a property we lease off my parents. So on that very small farm, we operate our cropping business, and then we also operate an agricultural contracting business. And then to the side, we have our value add extension, which is our Block 275, which is where we convert the GM-free canola that we grow into a premium cold press canola oil. You're probably familiar, Holly, and your listeners. So commercial canola oil is quite a light-coloured product you'd find in the supermarkets. Mm-hmm. Our product is completely different. So to try and give you the visual, it's a beautiful golden colour. It's a bit more viscous. It tastes nutty is probably what most people would how they would describe it. But it still retains a high smoke point. So it's a really versatile product that you can use across the board for sort of all cooking applications. So salad dressings all the way through to, the barbecue type thing. In a commercial canola business, they would use they'd use heat. They'd use chemicals like solvents and they'd hexanes, and they might bleach it and deodorate. There's a whole lot of refining that goes on in commercial canola oil, and we don't do any of that. So we literally press, filter, package, and that is it. So it's all done on farm, and it's all done in some sea containers we have. Our product goes to consumers via our website, so direct to consumer, and then we have our high-end chefs. So think your Gibneys and your Pan Pacifics and your Yarries, stand for those type of establishments. We're currently on holidays at the moment. We went to Shore House and my kids were like, Mum, it's on the recipe. It's on the menu. And I was like, yeah, mate, I know. That's the bit that gets all of us quite excited when we see it, literally Block 275 on a menu in a restaurant. So
that is
very
exciting.
Cool
I think we're going to, did you mention Yarrie in Dunsborough?
I did, yes.
Yeah, we're going there on the weekend. So I'll have to keep an eye out. And my partner, he's obsessed with cooking steak at the moment. And he loves a high smoke point. So he'll probably be like, ooh, and be very interested. So how did this all come about, Fiona? Did you just sort of did the idea just sort of come to you? And then you were like, hey, let's just do it.
So I suppose the reason we chose to diversify is because we wanted to buffer ourselves against the unpredictability of both the markets and the weather. So this year we've had a great year, but the markets are pretty average. The grain prices just aren't there.
Yeah.
So we wanted something that potentially, once we get it up and running, could provide an income stream that was a lot more consistent over the year. So it just buffers us a lot more and makes us a bit more resilient in that financial kind of structure for our business. And then the idea behind the value adding of the actual canola was then we can provide, we can turn a commodity into a food with full traceability. So we can tell you exactly what paddock a certain batch came out of, which that's going to be pretty hard to find from anyone else. So we can use that. And we also then used our name and our logo to tie that provenance basis in. So the Block 275, so we are at 275 Cant Road. That's our address. And you're probably not familiar with our logo, but it's just sort of like a rectangle with a bit of a funny squiggle line, people would probably say. That is a representation of how the Greenough River meanders through our property. It's like a snippet of like an aerial shot type thing. So we've very much tied the farm into the provenance of the product. And then where we got the idea, my husband's, as I've probably mentioned, is from Scotland, and we've got friends over there that have a similar model on their property. And so this was back, 2015, 2016, I think. Mm-hmm. That's where we sort of got the idea. And my husband was like, I can do that part we can do. Do you think we can sell it? So it's was a lot more mainstream back in the UK, 10 years ago, whereas it was definitely not a thing over here. So, that was where we kind of got, the initial idea. And then we've spent it's 5 years since we've launched, but the idea has been running for a lot longer to try and get traction to get people to understand our product and to show them, how amazing the product is.
How exciting. And tying it into the locality and the area that you're in and, the marketing that you're doing and just the way you're going about it is just so cool. And obviously you're turning heads because it's resonated with the AgriFutures judges. So what do you think it is about this project that has sort of led to your selection as a finalist?
This is a very good question, Holly, because I've recently this week met the other two finalists, so Angela and Susanna, and I've learnt about their amazing project. So I'm not sure. I don't envy being the judges. Our projects are very different, but I'd like to think potentially it's my passion for farming and being part of a rural community that was maybe what resonated. I personally love telling our story because I think it might hopefully inspire someone in a similar position to have a go at chasing their dreams. There might be someone in the crowd that's thinking about doing something. It might not be anything to do with food, but it might just be a business idea or a project they want to pursue, and they might just need that little, oh, you can do it type thing. So I'm just thinking maybe that's what's potentially resonated with the judges.
Would you also say it's about your work connecting consumers with where their food actually comes from? Is that an important thing for you?
Yes, it is. So bridging that city to country gap is important to me. And I think I look at that in sort of a two-pronged part. So I'm very involved in the Midwest the Food Bowl, and I've previously chaired the Midwest Food Industries Alliance. We've got that off the ground with an EO to trying to get the Midwest on the map for food. So everyone's familiar with Margaret River and Great Southern and all the rest of it, and that's great. They produce amazing food. But we also do amazing food and we have amazing products up in the Midwest. So being part of that to try and really get the Midwest on the map, which helps, well, it's sort of two things. So it helps with, chefs that want to support locals starting to look north of Perth, to look at the producers up where we are. And then it helps, if there's more of us supplying to Perth, that helps overcome some of the challenges that we as individual producers have, like freight and those type of things. So I'd like to hope by the end of this journey, people are aware of Taste of the Midwest, which is the sort of brand they're trying to get established in that area. So that sort of connects that side of things. But also, I suppose on the second prong, that city sort of gap bridge is, I want people to understand that being in the bush is not a barrier to a business. So it doesn't matter if you're not a food business. You could be making pottery, you could have an online bookkeeping business, whatever, that you can come to the bush to do those things. So the more people that we have in the community, the more people that we can, as those businesses get bigger, that creates employment, that puts kids in the schools, that makes more resilient communities. It's just better overall for communities. As everyone knows, communities are getting smaller. So anything that can put business back in the bush, I think is just a win-win for rural communities around Australia.
I fully agree. Keep people in the country. We were considering going to Perth, living in Perth next year or the year after, but we've actually decided to stay. We're based in the southwest and deciding to build in Capel. So just deciding, there are ways to get the career that you want or build that dream, but stay in the country while you do it. I'm looking at your website right now, and it is so classy, and I love the picture of you and Liam, Callum, James, and George. I think you said.
That will be us, the black and white one. Yes, that's us.
It's gorgeous. And the logo, as you mentioned, is beautiful as well. So, look, amazing future for you guys, I reckon, with Block 275. So what are your hopes for the future of Block 275? And also, do you have a message other rural women can take from being a part of the AgriFutures Rural Women's Award?
So I suppose for our Block 275 business, ultimately, we're just trying to expand my brand footprint. So that will, if we can expand the footprint, then that means increased production, and then that just grows our business. So my sort of, not end goal, but like my big ticket sort of goal at the end is to try and convert all of the GM-free canola that we grow at Madoc's Gate into our cold-pressed canola oil. So at the moment, we're probably under 10% of our capacity in that terms. So we really want to try and grow that, and the way that's going to happen is by having, doing things like this to get our brand out there and to have that exposure. And then for the message for other rural women, I think to probably understand that this award gives finalists some incredible opportunities. So both to further our skill sets, but also to make meaningful connections from the alumni network. So I think if there's anyone that is considering it, to step out of your comfort zone and do it. I know I had seen it, but I thought I'm not good enough for that. That's just, I think there'd be a lot of women in that position. And I was sort of tapped on the shoulder and emailed and by a colleague who was like, I think you should apply. And I was a bit like, I don't know. But I did, and I'm so grateful that I did because already I've made connections. We've already done some training as finalists. So all of these things just help grow us as women. And, it might be something that someone goes, oh, Fiona, I heard you speak and you had this problem with freight and you were trying to get into Victoria. Well, I know a lady who knows a bloke who, those type of meaningful connections that might be the thing that's just stopping, the little hurdle that might be stopping me might just be a conversation with someone. So definitely do it. If you get the opportunity to do it, have a go. And even just your project in general, whether it's for the AgriFutures Award or not, just have a go. You've got nothing to lose.
Exactly. And I think you're proof, Fiona, that hard work pays off and there are ways to stand out from the crowd. And whether you're taking that first step as to you have a dream and you want to start it, maybe you're an inspiration there, or taking that first step to get involved with the AgriFutures Award. Either way, it's been fantastic to chat with you, Fiona. And all the best with Block 275.
Thank you very much, Holly. And you have a great day.
Good luck with the award. That's Fiona Mann, AgriFutures Rural Women's Award WA finalist and Block 275 founder. You're on Triple M.